All right, so for this project, I would recommend taking one of your pieces of paper and folding it in half, and then using half the paper. That way you don't have quite so much shading to do and you can focus on the smaller space. First, we're going to sketch the candle. I'm gonna make an oval that's kind of like a hot dog, but I'm not gonna finish it. So think of a hot dog, right? Hot dogs. Then I'm gonna make two lines that come down, but very lightly. Just sketching them out. Mine's almost a dotted line. Next, I'm gonna add kind of the candle drips. So I'm gonna come down a little bit wavy and then kind of curve up like a backwards J. I'm gonna do that a couple times in a few places, and yours could be different than mine. You could have a couple little curves, one after the other. You could put it on the side. This is just the wax dripping down. Once you've got your wax strips, let's add our wick. So I'm gonna make kind of a rectangle that curves a little bit. So it's flat on the top, curves a little bit. Reminds me of those, the car dealer, those things that blow and wave. And then I'll complete the hot dog behind that wick. Inside here, I'm gonna do a smaller hot dog where the melted wax is around the wick. Good. Now I'm gonna make the flame. I'm gonna start by making a U, and then it's gonna come to a point at the top. Your point could kind of curl if you wanted to, like a wave. It could just come to a point. Next, I'm gonna make the halo around it, the brightest part. So I'm gonna make kind of an oval, very lightly, around it. So now I have my candle drawn and I'm ready to do some shading. To start my shading, I'm gonna use the side of the pencil and I'm just gonna color in or shade this kind of dark area around the outside. Using the side of your pencil makes it go a little faster because the side of the pencil is wider. The goal is to get a lot of that pencil graphite onto the paper. So I'm just gonna do this going all the way around. So there's my halo or the line I sketched. I'm stopping a little bit outside of that out here, and I'm gonna go all the way around. All right, now I've gone all the way around using the side of my pencil. That's kind of a medium to dark value. Now I'm gonna go to the four corners and I'm gonna add the darkest value. I'm gonna use the end of the pencil and I'm gonna press down a little bit. Not so hard that it gets super shiny, but just hard enough that I can tell that it's a little darker in the corners. All right, now I darkened all four corners. You can use your finger or you can use a tissue or a paper towel, whatever you want. But what I'm gonna do is start from the outside and just kind of blend in towards the flame, avoiding the candle and being very careful not to get too much inside this halo here. So I'm just gonna take it and kind of rub out, and you'll see it spreading and smoothing it out. And this is just a regular old pencil. I'm gonna do this all the way around, very lightly once it crosses closer to the flame. You can already see it starting to get that glowy kind of feeling. All right, now that I've smoothed that out a little bit, I am ready to kind of work on the candle itself. Now as I work on the candle, I had to sharpen my pencil. As I work on the candle, I'm gonna think about what color the candle is. So for me, I'm gonna say the candle might be like a purple or a light pink. And so first, I'm just gonna very lightly kind of shade the candle. If I want to, I can use kind of the value, the graphite that's already on the tissue, and kind of put that on there, or you can just sketch lightly. So now my candle isn't white. Next, I'm gonna look at these little drips, and along the outside of them, I'm just gonna kind of sketch little zigzaggy lines on one side that go up. This gives a little shadow to the wax, to the outside of that drip, helping it to look a little more 3D. So it's just very small. Okay, now in between them on the candle itself, in the middle, I'm just gonna add a little bit of shading all the way up the middle of the candle. when I hit these wax, I'm just gonna kind of stop to leave a little bit of white there, or a lighter value. Yours doesn't have to be perfect. These are a nice sort of practice. Then I'm gonna smooth that out a little bit. All right, so now I've got my candle shaded. I wanna help make it stand out a little bit. So in just a few spots, especially in the darker areas, I'm gonna take the tip of my pencil, not the whole thing, but I'm gonna kind of describe those edges with a little bit darker line in just a few spots. All right, now where the wax is melted, it's gonna be a little darker. So I'm gonna shade that melted wax in, and then I'm gonna kind of rub it a little bit to smooth it out. The wick itself is gonna have some value. It's gonna be a little darker. Once the wick burns, it gets really dark. Right? Now we know the flame starts out a little redder, so I'm gonna add a little bit of value in the middle of it. Smooth it out. All right, now I'm gonna use my eraser. I have just the edge of my pencil. You can use other erasers or little toy erasers. Any kind of erasers will work. I'm gonna erase the edges of the flame a little bit. And then I'm gonna add a little bit of shading on the outside. That way the edge of that flame looks nice and light. There we go. So erasing the edges of the flame a little bit. And then adding just a little bit of shading on the outside of that flame. Don't stress if yours doesn't look exactly like mine. If you have ideas you want to try that are different, that's fine. The goal is just to practice making some light values and dark values with our pencil. So I'm going to add a little darker in the center, maybe where the blue or the hottest parts of the flame are. Now I'm just going to go back to finish up and add some really white spots in the flame, along the edges of the candle, maybe on some of the wax pieces. Nice. Now, with drawings like this, they often get smudged. So I would wait to photograph it till you've completely cleaned it up, you've erased, everything's done, then photograph it. Photograph it right after you finish, otherwise things might get smudged. Now, I've erased the edges of my flame, the tops of the drips. Now what I'm gonna do is just along the edge here, where I made that hot dog line, in a few spots, I'm gonna make it a little darker along the edge just to help that line to disappear. I'm gonna lighten it back here a little bit. I got it a little dark. Yeah, it's better. Now it looks just like the edge of a candle. All right, now you can kind of look it over, see if there's anything you don't like, see if there's anything you want to fix. When you're finished, artists often sign their work in the corner of their page. Finished. Now, when you take a photograph of it, be very careful. This is a fairly dark, very light piece, so you want to make sure you have plenty of light. Go near a window, wait for a good sunny part of the day, and then carefully take your photo. I can't wait to see them. Remember, please don't stress about it. Try your hand at the candle. You can pause the video, rewind the video, whatever works, if that helps you out. All right, I can't wait to see them. Good luck.